And welcome back to another post-game episode of Banditland Boulevard. Trevor Howard here, our co-host Tony LaMonica there, a.k.a. Boxhead 98TL. We got a special guest, fan of the show, by the way, told me off air that he listens to us every single time he's at work. So big shout out to this guy, our now guest on the show, Don Martin. Don, what's going on, my man?
Not much, Trevor. Just excited to hang out with you guys, talk about the game, and see what we can do to improve next game.
Yeah, right. Kind of like you just hinted, wasn't a very good outcome. Bandits lost their first game of the season. They lose in overtime 9-8 at the KeyBank Center to the Halifax Thunderbirds. I'm going to say it right now, and I'm going to say it proudly. The Bandits, I felt like they really should have won this game, given the fact that they were up 5-2 at the end of one, 6-4 at the half, and 7-5 going into the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. That's just kind of the way that things go. Tony, I bet that you could agree with me on this as well. The Bandits just got flat out goalied in this game. Warren Hill was a brick wall. They didn't have an answer for him in the second half. 5 goals in the first quarter is awesome, but when you score 2 goals in the second half entirely in the last 30 minutes of the game, it's going to be hard to win games in this league.
Yeah, especially how Warren Hill played against Oshawa Firewolves last week and only prevented 2 goals against. You got to stay that momentum. You got to keep your foot on the gas pedal every time you go up against goaltenders like this, because you give them any kind of inch. Like I said, if that window is open and you creep through, you're going to lose control of the game, and that's exactly what they did. They didn't keep on shooting. Well, obviously the shots on goal proved differently, but again, you got to find the back of the net. Otherwise, if you can't, they got your number.
And they definitely did. I mean, it was a tough watch, I think, just watching how that second half unfolded. There were a couple big saves that Warren Hill made on some of our top guys. It was just a tale of two halves, though, and I bet Don could attest with me on this. The first half, everything was really clicking, and coming from a coach like John Tavares, who has the best halftime adjustments that I've ever seen, the Bandits just looked flat-footed. They looked out of gas there in that second half. They just looked like an entirely different team.
They did. They looked, and I'll use another analogy, they looked like the Patriots did Sunday.
21-0. Yep.
Losing a 21-0 lead coming out of the half. I mean, you can't make those mistakes.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, especially when the game's that close. I mean, the Bandits were. I was telling my brother who was sitting next to me during this game, I said, "Why are they playing like they're up by 12? Like, the shot clock violations were out of control. They were shooting the ball with 2 seconds left to go on the shot clock. They were only up by 2 goals in the third quarter, and they're up by 2 goals going into the fourth, and they're just draining clock when they have the ball.
They need to cut the passing out.
Yeah.
Sorry, Trevor. They need to cut the passing out. They're passing way too much.
That's right.
I thought the passing from some players were off more than others. I will say that for sure. But just completely goalied. I mean, Josh Byrne was probably the only forward in that second half that was clicking whatsoever. I mean, he was the one that scored to tie the game up at 8. But it's a game of runs. When you give up a goal, like Halifax was doing, sometimes that's just the momentum swing. When it's 7-5 and they score that goal to make it 7-6 there in the fourth quarter, and then throw on top of that a couple bouncers that I thought Matt Vince really should have made. I mean, Matt Vince had a phenomenal night. I mean, it wasn't just you weren't just goalied by Warren Hill. You were goalied by Matt Vince as well. He lets a couple go by that I think, despite the performance and all the shots that he saw, I thought those should have been saves. At least the Cody Jamieson one, to the go-ahead goal to go up 8-7. I'm sitting there in my seats. That goal happened right in front of me, and I'm just like, how? How does that go in? Like what's going on there? But there was so much that went right there in that first half to make you think that, hey, we got something cooking here. The second half, 2 goals. Dane Smith, Josh Byrne. That's the story of the game. And every other chance that maybe Benesh had, Mike Triolo, we can get into that in a little bit as well. A lot of waved off goals. A lot of times where the Bandits players stepped into the crease. I guess from what we understand and from what we've been reading all over Facebook was the iPad on the bench didn't seem to be working, so they didn't have fast access to replay, which is completely Bush League by the National Lacrosse League. If you want to be a legitimate league out of the major 4 sports, baseball, basketball, hockey, football, you got to have equipment on the sideline that actually works. Like, that is a complete – that's such Bush League from the NLL. But Triolo's goal, though, I thought he didn't step in the crease.
Me neither.
He wasn't that adamant that he didn't step in the crease, which is an indicator to maybe the referees that, maybe he was self-admitting that he did. But I went back and I watched that replay the day after the game. I would have loved to see at least a challenge flag there. Johnny already won 1 challenge. You have 2 left. Why not?
Could have taken another one. Could have taken another one there.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that. They should do what the Bills do. They've got somebody up in the box, up in the skybox, actually watching the replays and then calling down to McDermott to challenge it. Maybe we need to do something like that.
I think that's more so. It's probably a league thing that they have to approve first to have guys in there like that. And I don't really know if the league can truly afford anybody like that.
With like the different camera views and all that.
Different camera views, but sure.
The team actually has an employee that does it.
You got
someone on the coaching staff.
Side of the net view. You got all that stuff, but
yeah,
I'm not saying the Bandits lost because of a Mike Triolo. Was it a goal? Was it not? That second half was completely unacceptable. But to get into that, I mean, I want to talk about the things that we thought were good. Tony, you kind of brought this up off air. The power play. The Bandits had multiple chances on the power play. They had 5 total. They scored 3 times on the power play. They had over a 50% scoring percentage on the power play. Hey, 3 for 5. That's a lot better than what we saw last week. And for the grand majority of last season, too, this was an area where the Bandits sort of struggled.
Yeah, big time. But this the way that they can't realize to use it, even though Dane Smith and Josh Byrne are the 1-2 punch of the Buffalo Bandits offense, you can't rely on them to always be the go-to guys. You got to spread it around. You can't let those 2 guys say, hey, opponents are going to look at our team and go, those are the only 2 that they're going to only score goals. So instead of looking to them all the damn time, and we've been talking about this for years, instead of looking for them, and I understand they can get 100 points easy. I'm not saying that at all. Excuse me. But what I am saying, spread it out. You have the depth. You have the roster. Everyone on that team can score goals. Give them the opportunity to try. You're right. McKay, Tahoka, Buchanan, Triolo, they all can contribute. You got to give them a chance to prove themselves. It's not the Dane and Josh show anymore. It's the Bandits show. Means you got to allow everybody on that roster to give them a chance to prove themselves. And if you don't do that, you're going to lose the game.
Right. You're
even
exactly
the defense can score.
That's right.
Players on defense, you see some transition goals all the time, but I love that Johnny on the power play runs out 5 forwards. I mean, shows you that
that's okay with me.
He's trying to score.
Yeah.
He's got 5 weapons out there that can score. It's like seeing that old backyard lacrosse style. The Bandits used to run that with Darius Kilgore. They run it now with Johnny T, and most of the time it should work. Most of the time it did work in this. So I did like that about the Bandits game, and I thought they jumped out to a really fast start. And that was one of our keys, was jumping out to a fast start. They did. Dane Smith got the first 2 goals of the game. But the thing about Dane Smith's game, and I don't know if you guys picked up on this too, he scores the first 2 goals of the game, and it seemed like since then he kind of put his hands up in the air and said, I did my job. I'm done. And
it's like he stepped back.
Like every
step back.
Yeah, right. Every pass was like airmailed to somebody else, or he's throwing it to someone's shoes. He's throwing it to some guy who's not even open. There was one pass in the 3rd quarter. He tried to dump it to Buchanan at the top of the crease. Buchanan wasn't even looking, and it hit him in the shoulder. Right. I'm like, hey, what are you doing there? So wasn't my favorite performance out of Dane Smith. Yeah, he scored a goal in the second half. He got a hat trick, and he got his typical pushing 10-point night, and it's going to look great on the stat sheet. But if you really analyze the game and you really watch the game, this was the Josh Byrne and Friends show. Dane Smith looked great in the first quarter, looked checked out after that. And you can tell me, you can throw all the stats at me. I'm looking at the stats in front of me right now. Dane Smith on paper had a pretty decent night. If you sit
6.
down and you analyze and you watch the game, he didn't have his best night at all. I mean, there were a ton of passes that were airmailed. There were close. One pass that I saw
7
deflected and went into the bench. And I'm like, dang, he didn't have his stick up. Like, what are we doing there? Not to mention, in that fourth quarter, I know to the listener and to the viewer, we're kind of jumping all over the place here, but there was a lot that went on in this game, so forgive us.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he shooting the ball with 7 seconds left to go in regulation time, giving them enough time to go down the field and score a buzzer beater shot? We almost saw a buzzer beater from Halifax. Yeah. Why is Dane Smith shooting the ball with 7 seconds left?
You waste the clock.
Dane Smith, who didn't have a great night, got his 7 points. Good. Yeah, I know that's good, but there were other players out there. There were other players out. Why was the game plan to go to Dane Smith there? And why did he take the shot with 7 seconds to go? I mean,
he did have the hot stick. He did have a hat trick, so maybe they figured why not.
McKay was out there. Benesh was out there. Josh Byrne, who was starting to heat up there in that second half, was out there as well.
Could have given it to him too. But I don't know. There were some things we liked about this game. There were some things we really didn't like. Matt Vince, I thought, played out of his mind in the first 40, 50 minutes of the game. I thought Matt Vince played great. Those last 3 goals, including the overtime goal and what could have been the buzzer beater goal, I thought, call me crazy, crucify me, slander me right now, those all should have been saves. 100%. I agree. I could agree.
Yeah, they should have.
The Clark Peterson overtime goal, I'm not excusing Mitch DeSnew for being caught flat-footed, but I went back and saw the replay. Matt Vino, make a save there. I know it's a tough save.
Please.
He made him commit, though. If you guys saw that, he did commit him to come out of the crease a little bit to open him up, and that's where he found the window.
Brother, save. I need a save there. I mean, I know Mike Harrington with the Sabres says it all the time. It looks like a difficult save, but gotta have one.
You gotta make it.
That's right. That's right.
It's I thought the Bandits did an okay job throughout this game. Like I said before, look at the title of this video. Look at the title of this episode. They got goalied. I tip my cap entirely to Warren Hill. Coming off of a great night, in Oshawa, where I was thinking he's not going to repeat this. He's not going to hold a team to under 10 back-to-back weeks, hold a team to under 5 or whatever. He gave up 2 goals. He's given up 11 goals in 2 games.
No, that's not
Matt
bad.
Vince, who's the greatest goalie of all time, gave up 11 goals in the first game against the Georgia Swarm. So Warren Hill's playing on a mission this year. It's one of those games where you can pick and you can nitpick certain things, and believe me, we will eventually, if we haven't already. But
he's trying to take Vino's crown.
Yeah, he's
got a long way to go.
But it's one of those games.
Yes, he does. But he's making a case for it with these last 2 games.
Yeah,
that's true
for sure. Well, he's got a long way to go. I'll just say that. But it's one of those games where you just got to tip your cap. That's it. Tip your cap to him. He was the better of the 2 goalies. He made the more clutch saves. The Bandits were out shooting the Thunderbirds, which I loved. But he was playing like a madman. I mean, the Bandits were totally out shooting them. 54 shots.
How many posts were there?
54 shots to 40. And it was just one of those low-scoring back-and-forth games. Who's going to blink first if this game goes to overtime? Obviously, it was the Bandits. But, Tony, other than the shots on goal, other than the power play, was there anything else that particularly stuck out to you that you enjoyed about this game?
Well, just keeping pace, and really just was the first half when we came out guns a-blazing, and that's understandably the best that I've ever seen the Bandits just do what they do best. But where did that happen? And why didn't that continue in the second half? Why didn't they just say, you know what? Don't even give them a chance to breathe. Let's just bury them 6 feet deep while we're already got them down. So why not finish the job right then? You can't see. And this is what really stresses me out, and I just don't understand. Yeah, I know you burned out or whatever, but that doesn't show you that you quit. It feels like sometimes that's what happens, is that when you put your heart and soul in one half thinking, that's it, I don't have to do any more. And that's good. Look, you know what? It's like saying at a job, I'm here to do my job. And if I score so many points, I don't have to do any more. Bullshit. You got to keep going.
Yeah.
You got to go until the timer says 0 on the scoreboard. No matter what, there is no quit. So this is a good lesson for the Bandits. I mean, keep the mentality. Hey, play through. Didn't we say it so before, Trev? Play a full 60 minutes.
Yep.
You got to, guys. You just have to. You just
Well,
can't play no 45 minutes.
I will say, this is the first time in a long time I've seen under a John Tavares-led team where the Bandits were playing conservative lacrosse, only up by 2. Like during this age of the three-peat, if the Bandits usually have a 2-goal lead in the third quarter, they tend to run it up, and the game's usually over by the start of the fourth quarter, where they're maybe up by 5 or 6 goals, and then they can start draining clock. But this was the first time in a long time where I saw this core under John Tavares, the 30-second shot clocks, the passing until the clock reaches 1 on the shot clock. Like they were draining clock. They can say whatever they want. They were absolutely draining clock with up by 2 goals in the third quarter. And that's the first time in a long time I've seen conservative play like that. I don't need to see it anymore. I really don't need to see it anymore. If they ran it up in the third quarter, they would have won the game. If they ran it up in the third quarter, like they probably should have, gotten a couple extra shots that maybe would beat Warren Hill to the high side, we probably win that game. I'm just putting that out there. But yeah, Don, go ahead.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the last time they did something like that back when they lost to Calgary in 2006?
I was going to say back when they lost to the Colorado Mammoth in 22. If I'm digging up some old wounds there, but they took a 3-1.
I didn't even think about Colorado.
What was it, 4-2 in that game 3 against Colorado, and they kind of played back the rest of the way, and they ended up losing that game. So
sure did.
Yeah.
They played on their heels.
But there's a lot of benefits to this, to this team that we can look at. It's hard to replicate what you did last year, starting off 7-0. Johnny T kind of said this in his post-game press conference at the end of the game after they lost in overtime to Halifax 9-8. He said, look, like we lost a lot of key pieces in the offseason. This core, other than some preseason games and some practices here and there, the bye weeks are not helping. They really aren't. It might sound like an excuse coming from me, but with all this time in between games, it's not helping this core gel together. I mean, Ryan Benesh hasn't played on this team in 8 years, and he really hasn't played with Josh Byrne, or he's played with Dane for a little bit, but not that long. He's never played with Ian McKay. So the new faces that are coming in, the bye weeks in general, the Bandits don't have a lot of time to gel. So they are knocking some rust off. They're clearing some of the cobwebs off. We saw this in 23. We saw this in 24. I think they dropped their home opener in 23, and I think they went 1-2 to start the year in 24. So this is not atypical of the Bandits. They sort of knocked some rust off, with the exception of last year where they started off the season 7-0, and it's really hard to replicate that. But
that's where extra practices help.
What's that?
That's where extra practices help. Even if it's just hanging out, throwing the ball around, just getting used to how the new guys, chuck the ball, it may help them, learn tendencies for the new guys.
And that's what's tough about the National Lacrosse League is a lot of these guys work full-time during the week, and the only time they can meet up is that middle of the week, super late night practice at God knows where. And I mean, I know some of the guys that play full-time, Dane, Josh, Ian, those guys, they could probably find a wall somewhere, throw around. But I know, Don, you kind of said when we were off air, go to the Northtown Center in Amherst, play some wall ball there, shoot some on the outside of the building. Meet up at the Harbor Center, something like that. Team bonding stuff. I mean, that anything can help, but nobody's hitting the panic button. Nobody should.
No,
if anybody is, I'm sorry, you're dumb. But I'm just throwing that out there. If anybody's hitting the panic button on this Buffalo Bandits team that just came off a three-peat, you can renounce your fandom. I'm going to wait until, the Bandits in 24 went 5-6, and we were still thinking this is a championship caliber team. So we're not hitting the panic button by any stretch of the imagination, but there are some things that the Bandits need to clean up. But luckily for us, you got 16 more of these to go. You got 16 more games on the schedule. You got a couple weeks off, which does, it does stink. But you're going to play your first road game against a Calgary team that's not very good this year, at least to start off the season. They're missing a lot of key pieces, so there's a little bit of blood in the water there. But going back to this Halifax game, when you go to overtime, when you play with your food in the second half, don't be surprised if you choke on it. Don't be surprised when you choke on it. The Bandits, and that's exactly what they did. I liked the rally back at the end of the game where they had the ball, they were circling it around. Josh Burns' goal late was huge. The building went crazy there. I thought some of calls on the Bandits were a little,
yes.
Yeah, to put it lightly. The Nana Coke one, or when Nana Coke
that was straight insane.
I don't know how you go from a 5 and reduce that to a 2, and I don't know how you give Teoka Nana Coke a roughing penalty for getting hit in the face. And I also don't know how Tyson Bell, number one, doesn't get a taunting penalty on top of the high hit, but nobody stood up for Teoka Nana Coke. And that caught me by surprise too. Like, if I see Tyson Bell taunting my player after checking him in the face, I'm getting up and dropping them, and I'm throwing freaking haymakers.
I'm throwing my shoulder into them.
Yeah, I wanted to see. Now there were a couple little scuffles behind the play that I saw. The refs were not letting the boys go. I mean, that's just the way that it was. The refs were not letting the boys do it. So the odds of them getting into a little Donnybrook are probably pretty low. But you know what? I thought the Bandits penalty kill, despite everything that was going on in that game, and which, by the way, those, the referees in that game, I thought they lost control of it in the first half, but they kind of gained it back there in the second half. So props to them. But 1 for 4 on the power play. The Bandit special teams all night was great. The power play was great, 3 for 5, and they held them. They were 75% on the penalty kill too. So there's some good things that came out of that they can continue to build on and work on. The one thing I will say, unpopular about this loss, everybody's favorite player, one of everybody's favorite players, the Milkman. If your name isn't Jake Withers, Trevor Baptiste, who was the other one? Joel Nardella. Some of the other big names, Connor Farrell dominates them. Like the Georgia Swarm. They were rolling with 3 different guys taking faceoffs last week or 2 weeks ago.
Kind of like how we had our problem with Chase Fraser, McKay, and Weiss taking faceoffs.
Right. And a little bit of
God.
I remember Dalton Silver in on that action too. Holy smokes.
Yep.
That was bad.
I will say this right now, and this might sound unpopular, and you can say whatever you want about me, but I'm going to hit you with some truth. Connor Farrell is not a top 5 face-off get-off guy in the National Lacrosse League. Fans love him. I love him too. I mean, he's a big hype guy, but when your game goes to overtime, I know it's Jake Withers. 8 of 21, just not going to cut it, dude. It's not. 8 of 21 and just getting smoked in the face-off dot to start overtime. I'm convinced if the Bandits do get that face-off win, I saw the guys out there on the floor. McKay was out there. Dane, Josh. If you get the ball first in overtime, I think the game's over. I think the Bandits walk that game off. But overtime's a coin flip. You can make the argument that you shouldn't have been in overtime to begin with. You probably should have ended the game in regulation or the second half. But nothing was really falling for you. And kind of like what we said at the beginning of this episode, when you score 2 goals in the second half, the last 30 minutes of the game, against a team like Halifax,
you're not going to win.
Probably not going to win that game. So whatever scheme that Mike Accursi drew up for the defense and the goaltending, it worked. It worked by a long shot. He got the better of Johnny T this time, and this is the first time the Halifax Thunderbirds won a game in Buffalo since I think it was pre-COVID, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah,
that's crazy to even think about.
Yeah,
there were some things I liked, some things I didn't like. I thought Connor Farrell wasn't great in the face-off dot. I thought some of the penalties weren't that good either. But it's a tale of two halves. You were getting goalied the entire 60 minutes. I will say that.
I noticed something that I really didn't care for. They need to crash the net.
Yeah.
Those long passes from Vince, you can't pull up and stop and wait for them. Crash the net, take the shot.
Mm-hmm.
I know Johnny T also kind of said in his press conference too that they were shutting down any breakout in the transition. Whatever scheme Mike and Kersey drew up, they were shutting down the transition. They had a couple opportunities where it was maybe a 4-on-3 or a 3-on-2, and they weren't really cashing on those opportunities. So you got to credit Halifax for that as well. But a lot of the rebounds and stuff, just nothing was really falling. None of the passes were really clicking. But yeah, crashing the net was a thing. But the thing is, when you crash the net, you're either setting up a screen or you're trying to go after rebounds. If you shoot it at Warren Hill and he makes a save, he's not letting up a rebound. He's just that good. They kind of went away from what was working there in the first half. Dane Smith got a lot of the goals around the midsection area. Underneath one of his arms, I think one of the goals went in. And they just stopped targeting that spot. I don't know why that was the case. They kept trying to go high on him. He was lights out. Every time they went high, they were also, not to mention how snake bitten they were. I mean, those guys were hitting posts again. It was like flashbacks to 2 weeks ago in that Georgia game where you can make the argument the Bandits probably could have scored 21 goals on the Georgia Swarm, and they got bailed out by the post or bailed out by the crossbar. There were so many of those that hit the crossbar, went out of play, or hit off a post and turned into an over and back or whatever. It's just one of those games. You didn't end up on the right side of things. The second half, Halifax made some adjustments. They went on to win the game, and now they're 2-0, and they're at the top of the standings.
They should do more bounce shots, I think. How Dane got his first goal, it was a bouncer, and it went over because Hill thought it was going to be a low shot, but really it was a bouncer. And that's been a cancer to us, too, as well, on bounce shots. So might as well try doing that from now on. Like Benny's been doing that to us for quite some time when he was a Halifax Thunderbird. Maybe we should start doing that to our opponents instead of going for the obvious, solid shot to the corner, either top shoulder or low foot. You got to try mixing it up a little bit. But also the fact, shoot more, pass less. It's got to be at least 2 passes to start creating and then get a shot, get the loose ball, and do it all over again. Just keep peppering them. Like, I love the fact that Kyle Buchanan was on every loose ball on that offensive side, collecting and just restarting it all over again. He was like an animal out there for the loose ball section. But the fact is that limit yourselves, guys. I mean, I know you want to try to make the creative holy wow plays, but you got to make the simple plays. And the simple plays is get a couple passes, shoot, regain, do it again. Get a couple passes, shoot, regain, do it again. Stop with this fancy, let's wait till the buzzer beater, like you mentioned, Trevor, about the fact of we're just killing clock. The only reason why Halifax won is they never quit on anything. They just kept on pushing forward. And we lost that. We lost that in the second half, only scoring 2 goals compared to what we scored in the first half with 5 or 6.
Yeah, I don't know where the first half team went. I think they stayed in the locker room. That did not look like the same team. But it's so funny that you mentioned that, Tony, about peppering him. I mean, the casual fan's going to sit back and say, Tony, what the hell are you talking about? They had 54 shots on net. You could have had 70, 71, 72.
Oh, God, easily.
Peppering him.
Yeah.
Easily. Now, with the way that Warren Hill was playing, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm blazing Warren Hill, but he had a hell of a game. But
sure did.
With the way he was playing, you could have had 70 shots on him. I don't know how many more of those balls go in the net. He was dialed. I mean, he was making saves out of the butterfly, and he was making saves. Just there was one play where he looked like he kicked the net off on one of the goals.
He did.
It was the Ian McKay goal. He kicked the net off, and the ref, God bless him, was standing right there the whole time, was saying, dude, I think that was a goal. They had differing calls on the field. The one on the goal line saw it the whole way. He's like, I know that even though you kicked the net off, that was where the ball would have been. It did cross the line. That's a goal. So credit them for that. He was still making some crazy saves, and he was really dialed in that second half. I will also say it was so funny. hearing Swenny announce Kyle Matisse, number 24, and he comes out in the 99 jersey. That was great. So there must have been something wrong. I know Scott Loeffler said that there was something wrong with the 24 jersey, so they rolled with the emergency backup and gave him the 99 jersey. And I think that was the first time I've seen a Bandits player wear number 99 in a long time. I think that was our good buddy, friend of the show, Delby Powis, the last wore that number. So or either that or maybe Rax running up and down the field wearing the number 99 too. Yeah, you'll see that sometimes. But
yeah,
that was kind of funny to see. It was just a weird game. You kind of got from the beginning that this is going to be a low-scoring game because the dust started to settle a little bit after those first couple goals went in from Dane Smith. And, I mean, at one point it was 2-2 for what it seemed like forever. Bandits got a couple more to make it 5-2. And then I'll be honest with you, despite how bad the third quarter looked, I looked up at the clock and I said, you're up 7-5 going into the fourth. You've led for all three quarters. Why not just finish them off? But 2 goals in National Lacrosse League, 2 goals in box lacrosse is nothing. And Halifax proved that they could be a pretty sneaky good team here going into this season. But Tony and Don, we're not even 3 games into the season, and I'm all over Twitter seeing these insiders talk about Rochester Halifax is going to be a great finals matchup in May. Bookmarked. I saw the Rochester propaganda spread all over X in 2023. And then in 2024, it was the Toronto Rock are unstoppable. No one's going to take them down. Okay.
Trevor?
Well, 23, the Bandits took down the Nighthawks. 24, the Bandits took down the Rocks. So let's go with 25. 25 was supposed to be, I think that was supposed to be the Saskatchewan Rush because, a couple players before Game 3 said some words like 19,000 fans can't set picks on us, whatever. What happened then? So this might be a record for me, but we are 2 games into the season, and I am mass bookmarking all these tweets because I know what happens every year when these clowns.
What do you guys say when it hits May? What do you guys always say when it hits May, Trevor? They become a whole different team.
Different team, and it's championship or bust. That's what it is. So, I mean, you know what? Halifax can win they can win their week 2 title. I don't care. I want to win the title at the end of the year. So
that's right.
That's all I care about. But mass bookmarking. Every time you count out the Bandits, I throw it right back in your face. Why wouldn't it change in year 4? Why wouldn't it change in year 4? Sure, your offense is going to take a little bit of a dip, but every other team lost players too. So the Bandits are still right there in the thick of it. Obviously, going into sudden death overtime, it's always a coin flip. Any ball can just roll in the back of the net. The Bandits, last year, they didn't have great success in the extra frame. And, a couple years ago, it seemed like they were unstoppable in overtime. But it's really essentially a coin flip when you go to these. So when you're going into your next games, whether that's Calgary or Las Vegas or whoever you're facing after that, try to finish the job in regulation so we don't need to get into that coin flip scenario of who's going to take this game into overtime.
That's true.
We don't need a heart attack at the end of the game.
No, we
don't.
We
got enough of that from our own football team. We don't need it for the Bandits as well.
At least it was a mercy kill.
Exactly.
They scored 26 seconds into the overtime period, so really didn't spend a lot of time there. Also, I've been seeing controversial comments about the celebration from overtime. Guys, anyone that's first of all, I think doing this to the Bandits, a team that won 3 titles in a row, is hilarious. I'm just going to put it that way. The throat slashing celebration to the team that won 3 championships in a row is hilarious in week 2. But to anyone that took offense of that, like, I just kind of laughed at him because I said, I don't know if you know this, but you're really poking the bear here. Anyone that thought that was offensive, you would not survive the early NLL days from like the early 2000s or the Mill days where these guys
Oh, hell no.
these guys would jump into the stands and celebrate with other fans. So, guys, it's a celebration. He won the game. He's allowed to be happy. That's fine. But when you do this to the Bandits fans, don't be surprised if the Bandits take you down in the finals and give you one of these, or in the semis or whatever, the quarterfinals, and give one of these back to you. Just putting that out there. Reap what you sow. So if you see that, just whoosh, whoosh, see what happens after that. But I wasn't offended by that at all. I just thought it was a weird game. I thought it was back and forth. I wasn't happy with Dane Smith. I wasn't happy with Connor Farrell. But it's week 2. What are you going to do? 1-1 on the season. Nobody's scoreboard watching right now. Nobody's looking at the standings right now. You're only 2 games into this. You got 16 more to go. The only thing that really stinks is all this time in between. But once you get through this stretch of waiting before Calgary, things start to become more order. The Bandits start to play more every single week.
Yep.
One thing that sucks about this game, not only is it a loss, but this is the only time you saw Halifax. So
No, you see him again.
Oh, you do?
February 14th, Valentine's Day in Halifax.
Oh, okay. I thought they were in Toronto. So
That's right.
They play Toronto once. They play Halifax twice this year.
That's right. Yeah, they don't play Toronto. That's so weird.
That's insane.
I will say this. So I'm going to correct my statement there.
Mm-hmm.
You do have a good shot at getting back at them and trying to climb
in
back
their house
to get that head-to-head tiebreaker. The thing that sucks right now is that they currently have the head-to-head over you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Can always be made up.
So what you do is you keep winning so that you don't need that head-to-head.
That's right.
You got to keep winning, and it'd be nice if Halifax loses a little bit too. I wouldn't be mad if Halifax.
Yeah, you make it so you don't need the head-to-head.
That's right.
I'm looking forward to a lot of these games that are coming up, but
man,
9-8 in overtime. We're not usually used to walking out of the KeyBank Center after a Bandits loss. So
no, we're not. But
again,
it's still early.
It felt very foreign, but to anyone that's counting these boys out after 2 games,
I'm not.
The team that won 3.
Turn in your jersey.
Sell your tickets. Trade in your fandom. Go be a Rochester Nighthawks fan. Go be one of these NLL insiders that don't have a freaking idea of what they're talking about. So,
agreed.
Yeah. So 9-8 to the Thunderbirds. Guess you could say the pressure's off. The undefeated is no more. We can focus on just winning games now. I thought, despite starting off the season 7-0 last year, there was sort of a dark cloud looming that, hey, this streak is bound to end at some point. All it takes is one stinker of a game. So we don't have to talk about
that.
We don't have to talk about undefeated talk anymore. We just take care of business now.
That's it.
Yeah.
One game at a time.
And the way I see it is, they got rid of the stinker early.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Might as well do it soon.
And these guys are professionals. I mean, Ian McKay posted on his Instagram today. He said, wash it or flush it, reload, something like that.
That's it. Yeah.
Flush it, move on to the next one. That's all you got to do. You can't hang your head.
Can't dwell on it.
Yeah, you can't dwell on it. And some of the best Bandit teams that ever played lost 4 or 5 games a year. The 08 team lost 6, evidently. They lost 6 games, won the title. The freaking 24 team lost 7. They won the title. So the odds of you going undefeated are slim. The downside to this is, losing is never fun, and losing at home is never fun. But Halifax is a tough team. It looks like they have the chance at bringing it this year, at least as of right now. But, I still get Rochester in my mind from a couple years ago, 2023, when they started off 6-0. They lost that first game to Buffalo, and they were never the same after that. I'm getting a lot of those undertones with the Halifax Thunderbirds because as good as Warren Hill is, I don't know if he can keep up this insane run for an entire season. That just seems that just seems bizarre to me.
Or like Albany.
Yeah. No, you're exactly
were.
Right. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Albany from 2 years ago, 2024.
That was insane.
The season, they looked unstoppable.
Sure did, but then they just choked in the end.
Game of runs. It's a game of momentum. the Bandits will heat up. They're fine, get that loss out of the way. Sucks losing at home. But I do think that there are some things that they need to work on, and Johnny T knows what he has to do. He knows what he has to do. I think
simplify. I
think special teams, keep that up, keep that rolling. I was so happy with the way the special teams was playing, but I think what they need to work on is face-offs still. Just because you can beat up on the no-names from Georgia, it doesn't excuse an 8 out of 21 performance against Jake Withers. But I would have loved to see at least, something close to 11 or 12, 13. If you get us extra face-off wins there, that's great. But there are some things that they definitely need to clean up. The penalties, for sure, face-offs. But
yep.
Other than that, the league still runs through the Bandits. Don't let anybody forget that, and they will correct what they need to correct. And got a couple weeks off. The next game's after Christmas in the Saddle Dome for the first road game of the season, and then we got a really good one on deck after that as Chase Fraser and Chris Kluche and Mitch Jones come back to town. So that'll be fun to see on January 3rd.
Same week.
But, fellas, any final thoughts on actually, before that, we have to get into our Banditland Boulevard player of the game. And this could be from either side. Who are you giving it to? Don, I'll start with you, bro.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Vino. Even though we lost, he stood on his head like he always does.
Vino's a good pick. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't hate that pick at all.
Are we going with both teams, or are we just going with just ours?
Anybody you want from either team.
Oh, well, I have to go on the other side here because it's a name I've mentioned before who we needed to watch, and Terefenko is one of those guys, like I said, he's been all over the place, especially with how, you don't see Cody Jameson's name a lot. He only had 2 points, but between Theed and Terefenko, those are your next two guys you have to watch. But Terefenko has really surprised me, and again, he has stood out above the rest. And for next time when we play them in Halifax, you got to be a shadow or you got to stop them, because otherwise, again, you're going to see the same outcome like we did this past game.
See, I'm going against the grain. I've already complimented Halifax enough. I'm going to go with Josh Byrne as my player of the game. 5 goals for Josh Byrne, I believe. I think it was 5 goals, wasn't it? 5 goals, 3 goals. 3 goals for Josh Byrne. And probably could have had 5 if they gave him the ball more in that second half. He probably could have had 5, but
3.
Stereotypical Josh Byrne type of night. 3 points or 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 shots on goal, 18 shots total. I'll go with him. If Josh Byrne isn't in this game, we probably lose 9-5, 9-4, something like that. So then we would have been talking about something really ugly. But it was one of those low-scoring games.
Oh God!
Whatever, flush it, move on. Doesn't matter.
That's all I can do.
That's all you can really do. So, got a couple good games coming up, and we'll have the previews and post games for you. Trying to get a guest on the show, a former Bandits alumni as well during that time frame. So we're trying to work some things out there. You'll see that once, or if it becomes a thing. But
hope so.
Yeah, 9-8 loss in overtime to the Halifax Thunderbirds in Banditland. The Bandits are 1-1. The Thunderbirds are 2-0. Tony, it is time to shout out the sponsors.
Banditland Boulevard is brought to you in part by Mitchell's Tavern, located at 734 Sheridan Drive in Tonawanda, New York. Guys, if you haven't gone there yet, Banditland Boulevard, Trevor Howard, myself, Tony LaMonica is telling you to go there and check out their beef and wick and other types of
Don
foods.
probably goes there too.
Don, do you go there?
I've been trying to get out there, yeah.
You got to, man. You got to. Got to get out there. They got amazing food, amazing service. They will treat you like family, guys. Also, we'd like to thank Beer Kind Brewery, located at 2765 Kenmore Avenue. Also, up there in the Tonawanda area. If you guys haven't tried their crafted beers, go check it out. We're telling you to go do so because why? They put us on the map. We're putting them on the map. Go check it out. Also, we'd like to thank Herney's Journeys. If you guys haven't booked your trip, please go contact Kearney's Journeys at Suzanne Pike at HerniesJourneys.com. Let her book your next big adventure. And also, lastly, we'd like to thank Nino's Pizzeria, located at 2 locations at 1737 Orchard Park Road in West Seneca and on 315 Buffalo Street in Hamburg. If you guys haven't checked out their pizza and wings deal, guys, go check it out. It's amazing food. The people there are a trip, and they love to serve you well. So for any football, any games, any sport games, go and check them out. They will serve you correctly. We also like to thank those who are watching us live here on YouTube and StreamYard. Give us that like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell every time we talk about Buffalo Bandits lacrosse. And if you're just listening in on your tablet, your phone, your radio stations, on Spotify, give us that 5-star rating. And we talk nothing but good things about the men in orange and black, your Buffalo Bandits.
There you go. Despite the loss, we're always going to bring it to you right here on Banditland Boulevard.
Truth may be hurting, but we tell it like it is.
That's right. Truth hurts sometimes. I'm Trevor. That's Tony. That's Don. So big thanks to Don for coming on the show.
Thank you, special guest.
Hopefully he had a lot of fun, Don. I'm sure he had a lot of fun. So tell everybody at work that what you did tonight, and you can flex on them. And then they can be super jealous.
That's right.
They could be super jealous, and then who knows? Maybe they can hop on the show one time if they're big in the Buffalo Bandits game. So
most of them don't even know what the team is.
Well, you're gonna have to surprise them then.
That can change any time. Just take them to a game then. Yeah, that can be arranged. I'll say that. You don't know anything about the team? Go to your first game. You'll be hooked, no matter what.
Yes, you will.
We love that.
Nice.
So thank you for hopping on, Don. Hopefully we'll see some more from you. Also,
definitely.
Yeah, we have to get you in on this lore too, Don. We end the show with 3 words at the end of every single show. I don't care if they lose in overtime or if they win in overtime or if they win every single game or lose every single game. We say these 3 magic words to end every single show to show you where our affiliation is, to show you that we're loyal, to show you that we're never going to quit this team. We are undeniable. We're loyal as hell. And we're gonna continue to be loyal as hell. So, Tony, what are those 3 words? You got to help me out because even though they're on the bottom of the screen, I keep forgetting what they are.
Guys, in 3, 2, 1, let's go, Bandits!
Let's go, Bandits!
Let's go.